we've got Xavier's car here, and we're just going to do a small general quick service on it. It's not a 500k service or anything, it's just a small everyday service you do every 6 months just to check things out. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the oil, we're going to check the colour of it, we're going to check how much is in it just to get an indication of what the motor's actually doing. We're going to check the water for the coolant for the radiator, check the battery terminals, windscreen washer fluids, check for leaks of oil around the engine, any little loose things that have happened in time. And you do it slowly, don't rush it in because it'll splash the oil as it goes in, it'll give you a wrong reading. So just gently push that in all the way home, like that. Then pull it out again and just hold it there. Now there's absolutely no oil in that car. There's a little bit of oil right on the end here where my thumb is. You can just buy good quality oil. 15W40 is a good strength of oil, it's a thickness, and usually 4 to 5 litres on a car, but you can check your owner's manual to find out what the engine should hold. First thing we're going to do is locate the plug that's on the bottom of the engine, on the sump. That's the big metal bowl that's underneath the engine. It's called a sump, and that's what holds the oil for the engine. Or when the car's jacked up at the front, all the oil goes to the back of the engine, so that's where it's going to run out. That's normally where the plug is situated. Another point here is never do this when the car's been running because it's hot and you'll burn your hands on the oil. And the other thing is when the car's been running in the last half hour or so, a lot of the oil that you're trying to get out is actually sitting in the top of the engine up here. And it sits in there for maybe half an hour to an hour before it drains through the engine through little holes and it goes back to the sump. So you need to let this one's been sitting all night, which is the best way to go. Back this sump where the oil is stored, you can even see it's got an angle on the bottom so that all the oil falls to the very back of it. That's why you leave it to drain overnight, so all the oil ends up down here. You get a spanner, undo that plug there. You've got a washer. This one's got a copper washer on it, some of them have got a fibre washer, so make sure it has a washer, otherwise it's going to leak oil everywhere. Now on the front here we've got disc brakes, and you might not want to go this far, but I'll show you. If you undo, I've undone it with a spanner already, but you undo this nut here, and you can pull the brake out of the way. You can see that amount there is the amount of surface that's still on the brake pad. We've got all the oil out of the engine. We've got the plug inspected, it's been put back in, it's nice and tight. Brakes have been checked, and pretty much if the brake on this side is good condition, the brake on the other side is just as good, so wouldn't worry about checking the other one. And we need to put all this plastic stuff back into place, so we're going to do that next, and we'll take you through another part of it once we've got that back together. And when you're fitting a new oil filter, you can see it has a rubber seal around that. You need to put a little bit of oil on that before you screw it on to the side of the motor. And when you screw it on to the motor, you screw it on by hand as hard as you can, but don't over tighten it. Just use a bit of general purpose grease or Vaseline and just wipe that all around it. Time is to use boiled water and clean out all of that white acid that's sitting in the bottom, because that will go rusty and make the paint come off the chassis. And that's about all there is, just checking for leaks, checking oil leaks, check water leaks, check hoses, just go over the whole thing. Just look for anything that could be leaking. And we've already done that on this car and we can't find anything. I always put a bit of rag around because to start with you do spill a little bit if you're not using a funnel. And once you get started you can lower it down into the hole. On. Yep, right's going, left. They're in pretty good condition. You can see they're nice and smooth, the rubber's soft, the rubber is smooth. They're fine. That's fine. So you have a full tank of oil. So now that's all we need to be doing for the time being. Just check the condition of your tyres. We actually checked it earlier and we found one of the rims had a bit of a bend in it where it hit a curb or a rock, so it needs to be repaired or replaced, but everything else seems to be fine. So that you can do this yourself. You don't need to be an expert to do your general maintenance of a car. You can do it yourself. So enjoy and get to know your car.